Hey everybody, it's Joel from Talkin' Toys. It's another day of the week, and you know what that means. We're doing a figure review. Today we're going to be doing Spider-Man, the Iron Spider from the Marvel Legends series. This actually falls under the 60th anniversary line, I guess you would say, or sub-line, as it were. But I picked this up the other day, had a chance to look at it, so let's go ahead and do a figure review. Okay, so you can see we have Spider-Man or Iron Spider out already, but like with every toy review we do, the first thing we look at is the box. So we'll go through it real quick here. Marvel Spider-Man logo at the bottom, the Iron Spider product shot for the figure. Of course, on the side you have product shot, Marvel Legends as well, and then we have the comic book art for his first appearance, and I forgot who actually did that artwork. I should have looked it up. But I remember having that comic. I just don't have it anymore. As I showed you earlier, Spider-Man 60th Amazing Years, or 60 Amazing Years, not 60th. Marvel Legends series at the top, Spider-Man. And when we look at the back, product shot and accessories. So everything else is just little mumbo jumbo, but that covers the box. Okay, so with the box out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look real quick at the accessories. In the packaging, when it comes out, the spider arms, or the iron legs, as it were, are separated. You put them in with a peg. I'll show that here in just a second. But he comes also with two web-slinging hands, which feels, I don't know, I feel kind of gypped. I don't know if it's because there's these spider arms that they felt like they didn't need to put an extra pair of hands in, but I feel like an open hand would have been an additional welcome, at least for one of his hands. But that being said, you do get the two Spider-Man or spider spinning web hands, and they peg in, so we'll go ahead and get that out of the way here. Just pop his hand off, and we just put the spider hand, or web shooting hand. I'm gonna say spider hand all day, like it's an entire fucking spider right on his hand. Pew pew. So those are the accessories you get, or just the two extra hands, and then of course you have the legs. I didn't expect much as far as articulation with the legs go. I'm gonna pop this one off just to kind of show you. So you'd have the peg there, and then you have the bend at the peg for posing. And then it just plugs right in there. Each leg has an additional point of articulation, just two, right here and right here. All the other pieces don't bend. A little sad on this one because I was kind of hoping the point would bend, but you know, that being said, it doesn't. So you can actually spin the legs around with him. I'm just going to cover the legs real quick, and they are made out of a softer plastic, so it's not like a full soft goods plastic. It's just just not as sturdy, which I think makes it easier so that it doesn't actually break for the character. They're not intended to hold weight. I was trying to figure out if I could get these to get him to stand, like some of the Iron Spider suits we've seen, where he's got all three legs down and he's just hunched up. But I have not found a way to do that yet. So that being said, I'm missing out on probably the one pose that I would have really enjoyed setting him up with. So I'm gonna fix his legs up here, kind of get them out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and look at the rest of them. So Iron Spider color scheme: red, dark maroon, and gold. Not much there. I mean, probably even more plain than the blue and red, because at least you have a little bit of black and some webbing. I'm going to open up his ab there. I do like this figure overall because I like the design. I like Civil War, and since this was introduced in that was one of my main reasons for picking it up. But looking at the figure overall, I like the fact that it's all gold paint and not this kind of muted down gold. I understand why they couldn't do the legs that way, but I think it would have been a nice touch. But I don't make those decisions. The head does have a full 360. It's on a ball joint. Not only do you have the ball joint, but you have an extra hinge here, so you can move that head up and down. You do have a little bit of side to side, not much, but you can get a full 360 on the head there. These shoulders do have the internal movement here, so you can kind of go in, kind of go back, much like the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man that I did not too long ago. You can check that out up here by clicking the little button there. He does have a bicep swivel, and he does have a double elbow, pinless double elbow. And then of course the hands spin, and each hand has the up and down movement there. So we got that. We do have an ab crunch for him, and it sounds like there's like a ratchet in here. So it is a little bit tight, it's a little bit stiff. I don't mind that part for this, to be honest with you. Because I think some of the poses kind of require being a little bit more, you know, for the ab to be a little bit more stiff or have that ratchet there. He does have a waist swivel, and then of course we have the hips. They go all the way up, and they go that far back. They do come out in the splits, like so. We have a thigh swivel. We have a pinless double knee joint, and then we have the ankle. So the ankle goes, you know, up and down like normal, and then you have the tilt as well. And that kind of covers his majority of his articulation. So when I got this and I pulled this out, I thought, well, hell, this looks an awful lot like the Renew Your Vows mold. And that I was like, cool, because I if you saw the review, I actually liked that mold. I'm gonna go ahead and bring that figure in here real quick. Because I got to do some pretty neat posing with them. So I love this figure because of the ability to do some posing. And I said, hey, this mold looks exactly like that. Well, I was wrong. You don't get the toe tilt. You do get a little bit, but you don't. This one doesn't have the waist swivel. I forgot about that. Where the Iron Spider does. And you don't get the full head extension, which you get, or like to look up in different poses. Which Iron Spider does. I think there are some things on this mold I think would have done really well, head and having the waist and stuff, but they just didn't put it in there. I think if they had just combined the two, you get a really good Spider-Man mold. Anyway, I'm going to bring him out and just kind of stand him up, give you guys a comparison between the two figures as far as height. The mold, I think, for Renew Your Vows Spider-Man is actually taller when you look at it. Okay, so as we stand the two together for height comparison, already Renew Your Vows Spider-Man is a little bit taller than I am. We don't have quite the same level of articulation as Renew Your Vows. So Renew Your Vows to me is going to be the more superior mold. Just looking at everything, we do get some articulation as far as posing with this Spider-Man, but not nearly as much as I would have liked that we can get with Renew Your Vows. If this was the mold for this figure, I think that it would actually increase my like for it exponentially. I like the design. I like the metallic paint that's used. I wish it could have been used on the legs as well. I wish there was a little bit more articulation for some things that would have made this, that would have captured this design better. Than what you can get right now. One of the things that I have as a challenge to myself is to come up with some better poses and do some photos with this figure, because I do not like the product shots on the box, other than the one that was in the back here. I feel like that was kind of cool, but very bland figure posing on the box, and I feel like I could probably stretch this out and get a couple of good shots. So that's going to be my plan with this figure coming up here soon. Overall, if I had to give this a grade, it's probably a solid 8, because even with the gripes that I have, it doesn't take away. I mean, it takes away a few things from the figure, but it's not like it's a broken figure or anything like that. I know a lot of people weren't too thrilled with this mold. I had to get it in my hands to be sure, but overall, I would give this figure an 8 out of a 10. And if you're a Spider-Man collector and you just have to have it, yeah, definitely. I think there are better renditions of this character out there. But if you're like me and you can't just go and buy them all, this would be at least a good placeholder until you can get to a point where you can get a better version of it. So that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this review and doing what I love to do, and that's talk about toys.